Shirley again, the Healthy Herb Lady. And this week, my birthday, I'm turning 76, but I got some stories, true stories to tell you about what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about your lymph gland. And most people don't know anything about lymph glands, but if your lymph gland gets locked up, the next thing is either cyst or tumors. The next thing can be the big C. So you just don't want anything like that. You want to run smooth. So the first lymph gland that I'm going to talk about is, I lost mine when I was 14 years old, is your tonsils. Your tonsils is a lymph gland. And when they tell you it's not good for anything, honestly it is, because it kills the bacteria that's going into your mouth, and I have no tonsils. And I was 14, I was sick so much that I went to the doctor every week for a shot. So when being with these herbs and going 40 years without being sick, believe me, I know what it is to be sick. And so what happened was the doctor said, okay, you finally got cleared up with antibiotics, we're going to take him out. But he said, since you're 14 and you're quiet, I'm not going to put you under. I'm just going to numb it right here. So I'm on the operating table looking at the clock, and he's going clip, clip. He said, we're done. We had the operation. You want to see your tonsils? I said, But the little girl next to me that was in the same room, she was 7. She had her tonsils and her adenoids taken out at the same time. And they kept on wanting to feed us ice cream and popsicles. I went a whole day without talking. I would not talk because it hurt. So I just didn't open my mouth, and I was okay, but they gave me some water, but that's it. She ate the ice cream, she ate the popsicles, and she vomited all night. So honestly, your lymph gland you need, and I'm going to go and explain a little bit more. I have a meeting that I teach on Tuesday night on how to be healthy, and I taught them how to tap. And I was teaching them tapping, it's like 3 or 4 years ago, and every class I teach them how to tap, and there's 10 ways to tap, 10 things to tap when you want to open your lymph gland system. And you do this 10 times. Your lymph gland is long here, and you do this 10 times, 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 right there where you bend your shoulder 10 times, and then you be like a monkey and do this 10 times, and then under your breast 10 times, and then on top of your head 10 times, and then you do it again. You do it 3 consecutive times. And at night, I used to hear my husband, he was so hilarious. I could hear him beside me doing this, because it relaxes you so you can go to sleep at night, but it also wakes you up when you do it in the morning, and it lets it drain. So that's why you want to do it. But this 75-year-old guy that was taking my class on health, he said, I want to lead the tapping. I said, fine. So he was leading the tapping, and when he was going like this, he at the 5th week, he was saying his testimony. He said, you know, I had a golf ball underneath my armpit, and I didn't tell anybody. But did you know it's gone now from doing this tapping that I do at home and here? And I was so glad to hear that he had some results from it. And then when I was 60, so this was over 10 years ago, probably 12 years ago, I had a wisdom tooth taken out. And when I did, it was from the best doctor there was, they said, that was in Anchorage. So I came home and I had this knot, and it looked just like a golf ball. And my customers would walk in and they would say, Shirley, why you got this knot? It looks like a golf ball. I said, I know. I said, well, they took my wisdom tooth, and it just must be the swelling there. And so after 3 weeks, I called him. I said, am I supposed to have a golf ball on the side of my jaw? He said, oh, no, you get in here right now. So I got in there, and he took this knife. He had a knife in his hand, and he said, I must have left a piece of tooth in there. And he said, I got coming. He's heading towards me, and he said, I'm going to cut it out. And I said, stop. I want a second opinion. And that's the first time I've ever done that to a doctor, because I wanted his second opinion. So I said, and he said, oh, I'll take you to my friend over in Anchorage. I said, no, I want to go to, sent me in. He said, it's going to cost $100. I said, I'll pay $100. I want to know what this golf ball is. So anyway, he sent me to a surgery doctor that does teeth. And when I went in, he laughed at me and he said, I know what it is. I said, you didn't even look at it. He said, I know what it is. I get them all the time. I said, what is it? And he said, it's an infection. He said, when he stuck that to deaden it into your lymph gland, and it got infected, and I'm going to have to cut your lymph gland out. I said, oh no. I said, I can use herbs and get rid of that golf ball if I know what it was. I didn't know what it was. I just thought the tooth was still being healed up. He said, no, I have to cut it, your lymph gland, cut it out. I said, no. I said, I'll come back if I can't do it, but let me try herbs first. And he said, he said, I have trouble, and he had just had a stroke. And he said, what would I do? And I told him the herbs that he needed and what he could do. And when I went out to pay the $100 bills, he said, she told me more information than I told her. Don't charge her anything. I thought he was so nice. It's so nice. And then I have people that walk in here and they have headaches. And we do the tapping. And remember this oil, we do the oil and then we do the tapping. And migraines that has went away, that they've had for days and days and weeks, go away. So honestly, tapping really, really helps. But some people are just too lazy to do it. And all you got to do is sit in a chair and do it. Now let's go into your lymph gland. But your lymph gland is shaped like a kidney. It's shaped like a kidney. And when you fill them, you do not want to have any knots there. And it's mostly men that gets them in the neck, but women gets them underneath the breast, and you just don't want you don't want it hard, because that means it's getting locked up, and you don't want it locked up because next thing is trouble, and you do not want trouble. And the lymph gland, what it does, it brings the liquid through and it cleans your organ out. And do you know how many lymph nodes you have? I was quite shocked when I was doing the research. The research said you have from 500 to 600 of lymph glands all through your body. You have some just single ones, and then you got some that's like women have them clustered by the breast. That's why you do not want to use a deodorant that is not natural, and you do not want to use a deodorant that has aluminum in it, because all you're asking for is plug up. And men the same way. You just they come in here and they're all locked up too. And people, even teenagers. I got one teenager I got 2 or 3 teenagers, got great big lumps on their face and on their shoulder. And what I do is, you got to start with the colon. You have to clean that colon out to get the lymph gland system going. And the lymph gland system defends your body against diseases. It removes bacteria, viruses, parasites, and toxins. So if your lymph gland system is not going, and you know what, the most important thing, if you got a rebounder, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, that is the best exercise that you can move on your lymph gland. And it also takes the damaged cells, all the sick cells, and gets rid of them. The lymph gland does. The lymph glands, if they're painful and swollen, you just don't want them. You've got trouble at the end, believe me. And it says lymph nodes, they should be about 1/2 inch. And if they're bigger than that, that's bigger than normal. That means that they're getting too much toxins in there and they're not flowing. They only flow one way. And you just don't want them. But what moves them and cleans them out is the up and down. Even riding a horse, anything that moves you up and down. But the rebounder is the best that you can do. And when you have strep throat, like when they took my tonsils out, they said, oh, you're not going to be sick again. I had strep from then on. So it doesn't matter, because your lymph gland, when you eat wrong, that's what causes the lymph to get locked up. And I started getting strep all the time, and I still went back to the doctor and got the shots. But when I started eating correctly, no sick. No, I'm not sick at all. Not with a cold or a flu or tonsillitis or anything like that. Now, you probably wonder, what is your lymph gland system? Your lymph gland system is your tonsils, your thymus, Your thymus is, well, what holds your white blood cells in, and it helps you to be healthy. And your liver and your spleen is your lymph gland, and your appendix. And my husband lost his appendix the first year he was married, and most time it's for constipation or lack of fiber. And when you lose your appendix, everything I have read about it is 50% of the people end up with colon cancer because they never go to the root of the problem and take care of it. The root of the problem, they're constipated. And my husband had 2 or 3 bowel movements a day, but he didn't have complete bowel movements because he didn't have a fiber. He didn't eat salads or lettuce. He ate cooked food all the time. And when you eat cooked food, it just messes your system up because you don't have the fiber there. Because when you cook, like even oatmeal, if you don't leave it raw, the fiber's gone. When you cook oatmeal, the fiber's not there because you cooked it. You don't want to cook it. You want to eat it raw and let it sit overnight. And I put it in with chia seeds and with carob and eat it, and it's wonderful. But you do not want to cook organic oatmeal. You don't want to cook it because then you lose your fiber. Because it says the fiber out here, but when you cook it, the fiber is not there. And chewing your food. People don't realize chewing your food is one of the most important things you can do for your lymph gland system. Now, you ever seen people eat a hamburger, 2 bites and it's gone? Okay, they did not chew their food. And you're supposed to chew it till it turns into liquid. And if you don't chew it till it turns into liquid, then you mess up your stomach, and then here comes acid reflux and all that stuff, and you don't really taste your food. And I was reading, and it said you chew your food helps our taste to return to the natural food, and you really enjoy it. Like I had a salad this morning. It tasted so good. We have salad for the last 15 years, every single day, as long as we have our romaine lettuce and our olive oil. And I enjoy it. Me and my husband enjoys it, and he makes it. And before he met me, he never ate vegetables. And to this day, he can't name the different vegetables. But I was raised on a kind of like we had a garden, and so I know all the vegetables. So I just tell him to get what we can have, and that's it. Your saliva, when you chew a lot, your saliva releases a hormone that maintains strong teeth. And I've only lost like 2 or maybe 3 wisdom teeth. We still have our teeth. And when you're 76 and you still have your teeth, hallelujah. Because a lot of people, I've had people come in here 18 years old have false teeth. And you don't want that. You want your teeth, because teeth, when you chew, it makes the gums up here and the bone up here stronger. So chewing is really, really important, and you want to chew till it turns into liquid. And then you absorb it through your lymph gland system as you chew, and it goes into the bloodstream, where it stimulates the cells, your metabolism, and it helps with your T cells. I did not know chewing helped with your T cells, but it does, and I thought that was. And one of the special jobs of the hormone, and it's called peritin, is to stimulate the thymus gland, that's your thymus right here, to produce more T cells, which is your white blood cells, to function for the immune system. And so, I forgot to tell you about the appendix. The appendix, when my husband, I told you 50% of the people end up with colon cancer. Well, your appendix can be 1 inch to 7 inches long, and it absorbs the toxin that's in your colon because you're not having bowel movements. And then when you have a good bowel movement, then it cleans out the lymph gland system and the appendix, and then you start all over again. Well, what happens is you want that cleaned out so it can absorb the toxins. And I hear 8-year-olds losing their appendix, and that means they got to go to the root of the problem. They're not, even the children, they got to have those bowel movements every single day, because if they don't, it impairs your immune system, and you don't want your immune system impaired. It causes inflammation and congestion, and keep the bowels clean, and the blood and the liver is important. The colon is the principal organ for detoxification of the lymph gland. So if you're not having 2 to 3 bowel movements, and people say, I don't have to have 2 or 3 bowel movements. Well, you don't have to, but you got to remember, if you can clean the house with Windex and that's it. Or you can clean the house with soap and water and scrub it down to the root of the problem and have a really clean house. And there's different herbs, and I'm going to show you a couple of them that really helps with the problems, with the lymph gland. This is called Lymphomax. I have people come in here and they use this, and it's a blend. It's an antioxidant, and it's got like mullein in it, and it's got bayberry and olive leaf, and it's just got herbs in there that is really good for your lymph gland, because you don't want your lymph gland swollen. Now, if they're swollen, I had this one girl, I've got her spraying this Nature's Fresh. You spray it on and rub it in, and this is all 6 enzymes, and this will break down any knots that you have got on the outside or on the side of your, or I even use it in a spray bottle with essential oils and use it as a deodorant because it's wonderful. And then I have this lymph gland cleanse. This works with your lymph gland. It cleans it out with trace minerals. And then I have this one you can put in water, lymph gland drainage, and you can put it in water and sip it all day for your lymph gland. But your lymph glands, you honestly want to keep them going, because if you don't keep them going, then you end up being sick because you're backed up. And then you get a major disease, most times cysts or tumors or something like that. And you don't want it. So I would challenge you today is get your body cleaned out, and after you help yourself, help someone else. That's what I do, help someone else.